Howdy everybody. We're out here today trying to track down some ginseng. Funny enough, I had a video film for you yesterday, but I'm out here to redeem myself. This is actually my second go at it because as soon as I found the ginseng that I was going to show you guys, I sat it down and hit the back button. So a good part of me talking about the ginseng, you're staring at a stump. So I'm out here for round two to fix it and redeem myself. So yeah. Ginseng season starts September 1st. At least I'm pretty sure that's universal in the United States. You're going to want to check with your local offices just to make sure before you get into any ginseng digging. Disclaimer, make sure you check with your agriculture office. Make sure there's no permits required. Make sure that you know how much you can have, when you can sell it, etc. because those things may vary. I know in Kentucky you can't sell dry ginseng until the 15th of September. So, you know, do your research a little bit before you go out. But the local agriculture office should be able to set you up, hook you up, tell you everything you need to know. Anyway, so hang with me. We're going to find some more ginseng. At least I hope so. And puppies. Alrighty guys, so I found some ginseng right down there. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but first I wanted to give you a sweep of the trees. Ginseng likes deciduous hardwood forest. Tall trees drop their leaves in the fall. You're going to want tall hardwoods because the ground needs a lot of leaf litter, but not too many understory plants because they'll compete with the ginseng. But the leaf litter will keep the ground moist and rich, and that's the kind of environment it likes to grow in. So we got maples, two different varieties there. Big ol' tall poplar tree. Sycamore, old tall guy. And there's some different variety of hickory up there, and I saw some mulberries, and there's a couple little pawpaws over there too, along this little dry creek bed. Anyway, so down to the brass tacks, the ginseng. Alrighty guys, so I'm down here in a little bit of ginseng. Not the best of specimens, but it'll do. And as you can see, there's some little saplings, some ferns, some poison ivy. But yeah, the difference, I'll show you the differences really quick here. A mature plant, this is the minimum requirements to equal a mature plant. It has to have at least 3 stems, and sometimes ginseng has a couple more stems. It can have a couple more stems. Has to have had flowered right there and made berries. Have 3 stems, like I said. Each set of stems, each stem has to have a set of leaflets. Each set of leaflets has to have 5 leaflets. This one has 2 stems. It did flower, maybe make berries, I can't tell, but it did. But still, it's immature because it has 2 stems, 2 sets of leaflets, and 1 set of leaflets has 3. A little bitty baby ginseng that's just popping up will usually just have 1 little stem of 3 leaflets like that. So that's how you know immature from mature. Now I'll insert a picture of what the berries look like right there. And before you dig this, say you were going to dig this plant right here, you would take those berries, if they were present, pop them in your fingers like this, because each berry has 2 seeds in it. Take your finger about that far and jam down in the soil, which is dry as all heck right now, but maybe dig it back with a spade. Put that berry in the ground and lightly cover it over so that you ensure that those berries get in the ground. And those berries have to be planted within 50 feet of this ginseng bed if you harvest them from these plants. And that's the law, folks. Alrighty, folks, before I take off to this other patch, I was going to point out, like, hills like this, like getting in the bottom of a holler like I am and just walking straight and looking up both sides like a bowl, you know, is a good way to look for ginseng, especially as the season progresses. It'll turn a bright yellow. I know poplar leaves do too, but you'll still be able to see it sticking up, and it's just a really bright yellow. And that'll, like, if you're going to be a late season digger, that's a good way to identify it. And yeah, this hill isn't a northeast hill, but are facing northeast, and some people swear that is where you'll find it, and maybe it increases your odds, but it's not the only place you can find it. Just like morel mushrooms, people swear they're under a certain tree, but that's not entirely true. You can find them anywhere. It's nature. Life finds a way. But yeah, I find mushrooms everywhere, just like I find ginseng everywhere. So yeah, don't let that be a deterrent. It might help you increase your odds, but it's not the only place. Babies, mushrooms, hi babies. Anyway, stay tuned. We're gonna find some more ginseng. You guys, speaking of companion plants that you might find around the same area where you find ginseng, this is golden seal, or yellow root, as us hillbillies like myself call it. This is another money making and medicinal botanical that you can dig and enjoy or sell for money. And it grows in good sized patches, as you can see. And it's a little less pressured than the ginseng, so you don't have to feel so bad about taking some of this. Still need to read up on it and do it responsibly. But anyway, enough of that harping. Wild yam, little oak seedling. Briars. Ugh. There's some ginseng growing over here on this hump. What a strange place, right? Looky here. It's a good mature plant. But see, the seeds have already fallen. And I'm glad I got that picture so I could show you. But yeah. So we're going to dig some of this out, and I'm going to show you what the roots look like. Alrighty guys, so while this isn't the most ideal specimen, it is a mature plant. This is a mature plant. That's a mature plant. That's the thing about ginseng. A lot of times when you find it, you'll find it in a little bitty, a little patch. This was a nice little ginseng, but it only had 2 prongs. It has to have 3 prongs, 3 leaflets, or 3 sets of leaves, each one with 5 leaflets. So the thing about ginseng is sometimes it doesn't always spring up, so there could be more in this ground, and we don't want to just go willy-nilly crazy about it. So we're gonna, in case something hasn't sprung up, we don't want to disturb that. And like there's 2 here that are close together. Actually, there's 3 here close together. We're gonna have to be gentle about digging this out, and it is just so dry. Look. So dry out. And the thing about ginseng is it'll have, one way you can age it aside from this, you see this little stem here? That is the rhizome stem, and it's the scars. Each year ginseng will make a new little bud when it shoots this, and each year when this dies off, it'll leave a little scar. And you want to try to keep this intact with the plant, and that way you can see just how old it is. And if it's got, a rhizome scar of about that long, then you've got a good idea that you've got at least a mature plant for digging. But I'm going to use this little Fisker's hand spade. A screwdriver is a great idea too, because it doesn't have as wide of a cut, because you want to try to not cut the plant. Cut yourself a little sharp stick, anything. But I'm just going to lightly start removing this dirt, and it is so dry. But see if we can't dig her out for you. And as you can tell from this rhizome stem, that is an old little ginseng plant. Fairly, anyway, quite mature. But the deal with it is it might not have been in the best soil. It might not have been in the best soil to ensure great growth, So it may have struggled. That may be why it's not very big, but it's still a pretty good little root. I've seen my dad pull monsters out that just take up your entire hand. So I'm satisfied with myself for finding at least this one to show you guys. Alright, now we'll get it back to the house and I'll clean it up. I'll show you how to dry it. Alrighty folks, so this is what I would do if I had a bunch of roots. I would put them all in this colander and run a very low stream of water over them, just kind of lightly tossing them around, getting the big clumps of mud off. The thing about these, you can kind of shake them, shiv them around and get some of that until the water starts to run clear. Then I would take the roots one at a time, get them very close to the water source, like up in those grooves around the rhizome and the stem, and just use my thumb and using the current and stream of the water to get the trouble areas off. You don't want to go super aggressive. That's about enough anyway. You don't want to go super aggressive with this. It's been my experience that the buyers had rather it have a little bit of dinge to it so they can see all those little rings and stuff. They'd rather have that than a root that was completely scrubbed clean with a toothbrush. being careful as you rinse to try to keep all these fibers, that only makes it more marketable and more value to them. Yeah, so now say you're going to try to sell fresh. You don't want to bother with drying this out. At this point, you would just pat it dry lightly with a paper towel, and then let it air dry for just a couple minutes to make sure it has no moisture on it. And then you could put this down in the bottom of your fridge in the vegetable crisper, like in a little paper towel lined plate, and it would keep good for a couple days while you find more ginseng. But if this is as far as you're going to go and you're ready to dry it out, I would take this outside and let it dry in the sun for just about 4 or 5 minutes and let it get some of this excess moisture off. Pat it, paper towel dry it first, then let it dry out in the sun for just a few minutes, just a very few, to kind of get some of this excess water off. Then I'm going to transfer it to these paper soda cartons. You can tell this one's had garden plants and all kinds of things in it. I actually just got some dried yellow root out of it. And set this in a dark, warm place for about, I think ginseng takes about 3 weeks completely to cure out and dry. It varies though, just like anything else, it varies. And then every few days, just kind of give it a shuffle, to make sure it's not settling in and getting moldy or anything. Alrighty guys, thanks for joining me today. That is how you find, dig, and dry ginseng. At least that's how I do it, and it'll get it done for you too. Just remember to check with your local laws, agriculture office. They're going to be the ones to go to help you find the exact specifics on everything. So yeah, anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you found it entertaining, and as always, I really appreciate your support, and I hope to see you again next time.